All right, everybody, we're again working on color theory. Maybe. I may talk about something else. One thing I want to talk about is how quiet, how incredibly and at times uncomfortably quiet it is when there's no power, when there's no 60 cycle hum everywhere around you. There isn't one here. And so it is quiet. There's the crackling of the fire. There's my breathing. So color theory. I never met a color I didn't like. I say that. And it's for the most part true. I used to, when I was a kid, I had favorite colors. I suppose some people do, but they change throughout the years. And so I don't have a favorite color, although quinacridone red, you know, if you put a gun to my head, I might say that. That's kind of if you dilute quinacridone red, you get pink. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I do want to, there's a Goethe had a color theory. I don't know what it is, of course, but then there's other color theories that have to do with, I don't know, vibrations and so forth. But to me, all the color theory you need, and I'm going to say it right here, the only color theory you need is to know that there are blues that tilt toward the red shade, and you mix those with the right red, like a quinacridone red, which is a blue shade red. You mix the certain blue with red, and you get purple. That's a red tinged, red tilting blue. And then there's the green tilting blue, which are generally the phthalo greens, blues. You mix those with yellow and you get beautiful, beautiful, beautiful greens, right? But if you mix the wrong blue with red, you get mud. And if you mix the wrong blue with yellow, you get mud. It's gray. It's, you know, just good. So color theory, that's about it. Okay, I'm gonna start painting now because we're talking color and I just got a blank canvas here. Now this is a phthalo green leaning blue I just put on the paper here. You may not see it. Well, again, you know, I'm reluctant to say I have favorites because that, in my opinion, we all ought to start to try to get through the world without playing favorites of any kind. First of all, we always start with, you know, we're the favorite, you know, it's like I want to get the biggest piece of pie for myself, right? But, and that's a lot of times we grow out of that. But we're still thinking of our dear ones and so forth. Maybe we need to get beyond that. Just a thought. All right, so I'm gonna get some yellow. The yellow here on my palette is it's messed up. It's I mixed it too many times, so I have to clean it up. But I just put some yellow from a tube here, and this is gonna surprise and delight everybody. Just a little bit of yellow here on the color theory page, and we'll mix that with the blue, the phthalo blue that I just put on there, and lo and behold, green. Isn't it just gorgeous? Green is a very healing color. You know, I don't want to play favorites, but it is particularly wonderful color of photosynthesis, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's the color of earth. It's a very special color. Color theory, everybody. This is a explosive class in the matter. Now we're going to go to, in this panel thing, it's called ultramarine. But that, you know, ultramarine is just a name. You know, you can call anything ultramarine blue. That's why they use the chemical names more often now. But usually, ultramarine blue is a red tinged blue. So we're going to keep it quite separate over here. We're just going to make a big blob of ultramarine blue. Now, another interesting, curious fact about phthalo blue and ultramarine blue is that phthalo blue is for some chemical reason, incredibly powerful pigment. It takes only a tiny bit of phthalo blue, and you know, it goes a long, long way. And in my experience with the ultramarine blue, and I don't know, I'm sure this has to do with wavelengths or chemistry, you know, the kind of rocks and stones that these colors might be possibly made out of, if not coal tar byproducts. Well, we just never know. So now we're going to go for the off-mentioned quinacridone red, which becomes a beautiful pink. Now we mix that with a little bit ultramarine blue, and just wait, just wait. Just wait to see this. It's just amazing what happens. See that there? Oh my God. So we're getting some beautiful, beautiful purples. You know, the whole range of red to blue, and it's just all there, the whole range. Each tiny difference in color, I suspect, is a different wavelength, you know, histograms. All very scientific. We needn't concern ourselves with that. IMO, or an IMNSO, in my not so humble opinion. So we're nearing the end of our, oh, look at that. I just left a little blob of water on the paper, and then I got a very rich, powerful brush load of quinacridone. I have no idea whether I'm pronouncing it correctly or not. You know, sue me if I'm not, right? So it's just this beautiful, beautiful red, edging into pink as the particles per microliter, that number gets lower and lower, and then we have a washing out of the color, which is, a lot of people go with watercolors, but I like strong colors. I like brutal, not brutal, but, you know, strong. Not afraid of saturation here at the Painter Inside Institute. So what do we do with colors? It's a dangerous. It's a path fraught. It's fraught. One of my dearest friends is a wonderful artist and a brilliant person, and she said, you know, I like your paintings. You know, I used to, when I was working on black canvas, black gesso, I would take a light-colored white or yellow or ochre colored pencil to do the drawing, and then I'd paint from that. And she said, you know, I like your drawings best before you put the color in. And sometimes I'll do a drawing on a piece of watercolor paper in the watercolor notebook that I have, and I realize that the drawing went, and then I add color to it, and it's not as good, which is, I don't know why that is, and it makes me just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit sad. One of the mysteries of art, apparently. So, color theory, I think I've gone over the 30-second limit that I set for myself. And so now, if you're in position and you've got a cheap, you know, you could go out and spend $10, maybe 20. You get one of those selections at brushes, you know, at Michael's or Ben Franklin's or wherever. And a student grade, you know, watercolor thing and a pad of paper and some water, and you're good to go. You are good to go, and just start putting color on paper and experience the pure joy of putting color on paper. Just experience the burst, the blooming of color as you have a puddle or a wet spot on the paper, and you put a brush laden with some powerful pigment into that little puddle of water, and the color just explodes into it. And it can't go backwards. You know, the arrow of time is in effect here. It can't go backwards. It blooms. It's just fantastic. I find it so, at least. And I think you may as well. Now you may want to like turn your power off. Go outside and go to the breaker box and just turn the power to your house off. And sit for an hour. And then paint. I mean, that'd be an experiment, right? Because the goal here is not to produce beautiful paintings. That's a side effect, and a very, very welcome one, especially for the galleries and agents that we all have. It's more to find ourselves, to put it bluntly. We're all separated. I shouldn't say all, but, most of us are separated from our essence. And growing up in this extremely fractured and completely messed up modern world, it's got a lot of benefits, obviously. But one of the detriments is that we're separated, almost all of us, from our essence. And so we're searching for happiness, we're searching for this, and we're searching for that, we're searching for fulfillment, and the partner, and the place to live. And then as things get more and more messed up, we're searching for survival. How do I live? How do I survive this? How do I not get sick? How do I take care of my family and all this stuff? And all those things are obviously quite important. But they're a measure, in a certain way, a metric of how disconnected we are from ourselves, from our deeper selves, from our real selves, if I may so bluntly put it. So when we experience that burst of color, or the delightful, exciting, wondrous mixture of the yellow and the phthalo blue on the paper or on the palette, when an entirely new green that the world has never even seen before appears in front of you. Or your brush drags the ultramarine blue and the quinacridone red together, and suddenly purple comes out. Purple that matches perfectly a flower that's growing out of the detritus in your gutter. Possibly, I can't say that for sure. But these things, when we experience that, even before we say, what a beautiful color, as I've been saying so often. Before we think, my God, isn't that wonderful? Before that, the pure experience. I mean, it's short-lived. That's the painter inside. If we can get her to stick around just for that moment, the explosion of color on our palette or our paper, that's a win. That's a win. That's what it's... Again, I want to say that's what it's all about, and it hardly ever is. But at least we're trying to get a partial and somewhat correct, if that's the right word to use, it probably isn't, view of things. So, color theory and brush work. I'm not going to show you how to hold a brush and dip it in the water and put it... I mean, that's child's play. Literally, it's child's play, and that's how we ought to, in my opinion, approach it. Even Pablo Picasso said, we're just trying to paint like children. And by that, he didn't mean without skill. But I think each of us has a particular way of expressing ourselves if we let it develop on our own, instead of trying to copy the work of others or try to make something good. I mean, I love Egon Schiele, especially like there's a picture of a drawing, not a painting, just a drawing of a house, tiny little bits of color here and there, pen and ink, and it's just like stunning. It's perfect. But Egon Schiele, he just, he found his own way. There's nobody else like it. And each of us, even when we don't produce great product that other people admire for a long, long time, the thing is that we have that experience. And our experience is unique. Wonderful. It's perfect. It is, to bring the last lesson of this Painter Inside course is that we are not but the eyes of God. And so it's real work. It's real good work. get that experience. To experience the colors, the vibrancy, and everything else of life. But we're talking about paint, right? I mean, slicing a potato on a cutting board, with a spatula, folding the eggs, lifting the eggs to let the uncooked portion go under the cooked portion in a saute pan as you make an omelet. Paying attention to that, what happens in the pan, the sound of it, the smell of it. That's what we have here on planet Earth. And it's about the only thing that's, that the so-called people that run this place, I will try not to comment, but it's fair to say that it's not a good situation in terms of our norms, what we've gotten used to. Maybe we're up for some big thing coming soon. I'm not sure if hope's the right word, but I don't want to discount the possibility, and that would be, be careful what you wish for is a bumper sticker of mine, but it's hard not to. It's hard not to want to see something coming out of this mess in which we're immersed, that we might think of this far from equilibrium state, as Ilya Prigogine, the Nobel Prize-winning chemist, might put it, and that maybe we're coming, because of this far from equilibrium, i.e. wacky state, that there may be a bifurcation point coming where, if we all do something right, we enter some kind of new state, altogether perhaps, something that we literally cannot imagine now. No more, as the cliche puts it, no more than the caterpillar can imagine a butterfly. It's impossible. It can't be done. And I think whatever's coming, whether if it's just lights out for Homo sapiens sapiens, or part of us, the essence of which I speak, we all join together at that level, knowing that we are not but the eyes of God.